How's it going, everyone? This is Keith, Reverend Doctor here with another gear update. Today I wanted to talk about something very specific. I, for the longest time, have been really curious about the LR Baggs Synapse. What this is it's a compact personal PA system geared directly towards acoustic guitarists and vocalists, so that acoustic guitar / vocalist area. It's designed to be light, compact, easily carried from location to location. I wanted to take a look at this product because there are almost no product reviews by people that are out there either playing music that aren't actually owning a retail store. So you see a lot of videos out there about this system that are from either gear magazines or actual retailers. The reason why that's really difficult for me as an artist is because it doesn't give me a perspective about real world engagement with the product. The perspective I wanted to adopt here is by taking a look at it from the perspective of two other products that I already own. It is the Bose S1 Pro, a super compact, about $600 price point, single speaker, loud box. Basically, it has a portable battery in it. The other product I wanted to take a look at from the perspective that I own and have extensive experience with is the Bose L1 system. I have the L1 with the B2 speaker, the sub, and I don't use the tone match product with it. I actually just use either a regular mixer or I plug directly into it because I typically only have one or two inputs considering I'm going out from a looper pedal. The reason I wanted to take a look at this product is because I've been intensely curious about it. It looked awesome. I wanted one so bad. If I could replace my Bose L1 B2 with it, that's what I would have preferred to do. I'm not doing that, and here's why. After extensive use with the product, I've owned it about 6 months. I've had it on the road with me. I've probably played between 8 and 12 gigs with it. I actually didn't count. Using this product, I've used it in several different environments. I've used it in small house situations where there is a room with furniture. I've used it in a little bit larger rooms with solid walls, such as an art gallery. I've used it outdoors. I've used it smaller settings, like I would say about the size of a living room. I've also used it, completely spacious outdoor options. And I would say that the LR Baggs Synapse performs best when it's outside, which is great because it gets you a nice, bright, well-rounded sound in those sound situations. I would say that using it as an artist in situations where I'm indoors and there are a lot of reflections, this actually caused a lot of problems for me musically, in my opinion. So with the LR Baggs Synapse, you have basically 180, it almost is 180, I think it's technically 170 degrees or 160 degrees of dispersion with the speaker array. And I wanted something similar to my L1 B2 system that created a wide dispersion. I find that the multi-array system of the L1 really creates high sound levels perceptible to your ear. I'm not going to say SPL just because I think that SPL is actually lower, but you have a more even dispersion of the sound throughout the room that doesn't actually feel harsh on the ears. It's not actually like a loud box. Projecting like a cannon in a particular direction like you have with traditional PA systems. So with the Synapse, I found a lot of the time what was happening is that the dispersion was so wide that even if I was playing next to the system or even slightly behind the system, I would get a lot of feedback in my loop really early on in creating my loops, a lot earlier on than I would be with other systems. Another problem that I experienced with it was that the LR Baggs, while it is super light and compact, it's not quite to the level of my S1 Pro. The S1 Pro is so ridiculously portable that it's barely even worth mentioning. I do like getting my S1 Pro up off the ground onto a speaker stand, although there's been plenty of situations where I haven't done that. And the S1 Pro competes in small rooms or even outdoor situations where I would say a crowd of 100 to 200. The S1 Pro is actually a pretty impressive system. But the problem that I experienced with the LR Baggs that the Bose L1 system, I would say far and away achieves, is that the L1 executes, in my opinion, a much wider dispersion with much lower perceptible sound and a much rounder sound from a wider angle, in my opinion. When I was using the LR Baggs Synapse in indoor situations, if I was standing behind it because of that sub, the lower frequencies, it would sound really, really boomy for me and be really distracting. I would EQ it standing off to the side or behind it, and then go around front to listen to it. Luckily, I'm a looping artist, and be able to listen to the system as it's recreating the sound. And the problem is that I would have EQ'd it, so I almost cut the entire bottom end out. That happens sometimes with my L1 B2, especially with a sub, especially in a smaller room with a lot of solid surfaces, or if I'm playing in the corner of the room where lower frequencies tend to be trapped. Except I would say that my correction of the sound while standing behind or in the position where I would typically be performing from isn't nearly as drastic when I would walk around to the front of the array. So ultimately, I would say that the L1 system compared to the LR Baggs Synapse, the Synapse is a great system, but you are probably a very specific artist. You're not going to be using a whole lot of frequencies. You're probably not going to have a drummer or any kind of lower end percussion, just because it was once those lower frequencies were engaged, that's where I really experienced the problem with the LR Baggs Synapse. I don't know if there are any of you out there that have had this same experience. If you had, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your opinion on it, just because I feel like for $2,000 I should be getting a lot better experience out of the Synapse. I didn't buy it new, to be fair. This is a used unit that I found on eBay. I had my claws, my tendrils out there looking for used units and pounced on this one as soon as I found it, just because I wanted to be able to experience it, and I wanted to be able to tell other people my experience with this product, because there are a lot of positives. The build quality, this thing is a tank. The looks, this thing is gorgeous. If I had a smaller cafe that I had sound treated, I would absolutely book small, acoustic soloists or duets in order to be able to come in and perform on this PA, and I would confidently know, even if they came in and ran their own sound, it's gonna sound fantastic, because the EQ section is very musical. The preamps are LR Baggs preamps. They are world class. That's one of the reasons I wanted to get this PA so bad, was that I wanted to be able to experience that for myself. I would say in certain rooms, this system does really well. In others, it doesn't do as great without a lot of tweaking, or without, pushing the low end too much, which again, as a live looping artist, when I'm doing lines that have sub bass, when I'm doing lines that deliberately use those lower frequencies, that's why I went with the L1 with the B2 sub, with the larger subwoofer. I knew a large part of what makes my act interesting is that I am bringing that full experience, whether it's low end, high end, and everything in between. So build, this thing is fantastic. Cost, wow, I hope that you're an artist that is making capital and that this is the system for you. I encourage you to do your research on it. My personal experience with the price for what I'm getting, I think there are better systems out there. If you're looking for something more on the portable side, I would really encourage you to look at the Bose S1 Pro. I have had a great experience with that speaker. I will probably do a review on that later, just because I love the system. It's also not for everyone. There's a very specific artist that it's for. The Bose L1 B2, that is a super flexible system. I've played for crowds of 600-700 in outdoors environments really easily. I have also played for less than 100 in a super small room with that thing. It takes up a large footprint for a small room, but the great thing is that the people in front are going to hear me just as well as the people in the back in a room like that, without them being able to be blown away. They can have conversations over the music as I'm performing, which is super important if you're playing like a cocktail hour or a corporate event. So how do I want to say this? The price is what it is. It is a really well engineered product. It is very great looking, but for me, it's too expensive for what I'm getting. The overall quality of the product, I would encourage you, if possible, before you purchase this system, to use it yourself. If you are an acoustic guitarist, small string ensemble, if you are involved in products that need a nice round low end, but it's not the point of what you do. That is, if you're doing anything without percussion or that doesn't need a kick, or you're also skipping bass guitar is another thing. So those are the things that I would not recommend for the LR Baggs Synapse. It is a great product, but it's not for everyone. Full transparency, I'm selling this just because it's eating up a large window in my income, and I'm not using it. I was hoping it was going to sit between the S1 Pro as far as smaller gigs, the Bose L1 B2, and I was hoping that it was going to be larger gigs that I didn't want to bring my full PA to, or a satellite speaker so that I could, if I was playing a rooftop bar, people in the front could hear the L1 B2, and then I could put another satellite speaker off in the corner so that people could be able to listen. But as it is right now, it doesn't quite fulfill that need for me. I hope this review has been helpful to you as someone that has used it. If you have further questions down below, let me know in the comments. This is my general overview. I'm not going into the features. There's been a lot of other videos out there that have done a really good job of covering the features of this. That's not what this review is. If you have questions about the actual product, you know, those are probably best off for somewhere else. But if you have questions about my personal experience or what other instruments, if you have comments on your experience with the Bose Synapse, I would love to hear it. Thanks everyone once again. I appreciate your time. Subscribe, like, share, get the word out. Peace.